the opportunity of helping clients achieve a dream that everybody dreams of is homeownership, but also just helping them create those opportunities to put them in a leverage, for success. And homeownership in your house is the most heavily weighted asset you're going to have. So, how cool is it to be part of that journey to put them into that product in that asset class?
Welcome to the Lowdown Mortgage Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the. Hold on, let me stop. Welcome to the Lowdown Mortgage Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the topics that directly impact the evolving originator. I'm your host, Connor Bartley. Bam! And joining me today is an exceptionally talented loan officer from Appleton, Wisconsin. He has earned an incredible reputation for hosting fabulous events and really just building a great community within his realtor partnerships and really just growing his business. So Tom Seaman, I want to welcome you to the Lowdown. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Connor. I appreciate the opportunity.
You bet, man. I'm excited to dive into everything and have this conversation. I know people who are listening are going to get a ton of value out of it. And so before we get into like the tactical side of things and the things that have really been driving growth for you, let's take one step back and let's just talk about how it all began and what got you into this business and got you started in the mortgage. Because I know most people don't come by it naturally. So I'm just curious, like, how did you get your start?
Yeah, it was back in the early 2000s, 2001, as a matter of fact. Was at a different division in a bigger bank, and my coworker decided to leave the finance company division where we did that interest-free financing on like furniture, jewelry, etc. Moved over to the mortgage side of things, and then was there for a few months and said, "Hey guys, you got to come and check this out." And one thing led to another conversation-wise, and before you know it, 2 months later, over from the finance side division to the mortgage side, and that was November of 01, and haven't looked back.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So along the way, I'm sure things have evolved and you've started to see kind of different, uh, different changes happen in this industry. What are some that have stood out to you that have been like the most impactful or the kind of the biggest, most disruptive changes?
Yeah, obviously one of the big ones, if someone's been in the business that long, is the 2008 2010 event with the meltdown. And honestly, I felt like that was a really good push for us to create more opportunity to grow our client base and our partnership. So that was a really good, interesting event that took place. But then it's just interesting over the years on the evolution of products, but not only that, but the evolution of, like, we call it like new norms. I feel like every quarter, every year, we used to think that the patterns are always going to be the same on a quarterly or yearly basis, but the last several years I feel like it's been evolving. And then just the technology since COVID time frame, where you don't necessarily meet with clients anymore face to face. It's either done via Zoom or over the phone, or to sign a document with a wet ink signature prior to closing is kind of like obsolete now. So it's just interesting, the evolution the last 5 to 7 years.
Yeah. So I'm curious, on average, how many clients would you say in a year you actually meet face to face?
Yeah, so I would say maybe a dozen or so, and I leave it up to the client, maybe two at most. If they really want to meet, I'm absolutely fine with meeting with them. I have no problems with that. But a lot of them, their time, right, is precious, or it's just hard to meet up that meets everybody's schedule. So we do a lot of phone conversations, like I said, a lot of Zoom conversations as well. But more than welcome to meet with them. But usually it's, like I said, a couple dozen at most each year.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I think back to when I bought my house 17 years ago, 18 years ago. I never met my loan officer then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time, but it does seem to be like that is the norm. I think there are more and more people like me buying houses right now, or over those years. I mean, I'm 44 years old, so sort of my generation is that first generation of the internet and things like that. And I think the more and more that people are used to those tools and have adopted them into their daily normal lives. They're just more comfortable that way. So that's interesting to hear you say. So now that you've been in the business for as long as you have, I mean, at what point along that journey did it click to you that you were really good at what you were doing and that this was going to be kind of the career for you long term?
Just the feedback and comments we're getting from partners as well as the clients, and just the amount of clients that would either come back to us or refer to us. It was very rewarding knowing that you did a good job and took care of them and gave them great advice. That's, as we say, the greatest compliment is to receive that referral or recommendations.
Yeah. Are you at a point now in your career where you're starting to see more return business, whether it's referrals from past clients or move ups or refinances and things like that?
Absolutely. I'd say right now our split between clients and realtor business is about 50-50, where half of it's coming from realtors, half of it's coming from either our clients that are coming back to us for additional needs or referring their friends or family. And now we're to the point of being in the business 24 years, we're starting to see either clients upsizing or downsizing, as well as their kids buying homes. So we're getting the introduction to the next generation of home buyers, which is very, very rewarding, knowing that we get to work with a lot of first-time home buyers right now.
Yeah, that's great. So that's an interesting nuance that happens over a career. Are you doing anything targeted to make sure that you're in the right place at the right time of those types of events, like kids coming out of college and things like that? Or has that just been something that's kind of happened naturally?
Using some various social media marketing or posting to hit certain demographics, but also consistently marketing to clients. For example, on Sundays, we'll do a weekly roundup of what happened in the financial markets. I'll do a bomb video plus a recap of what's going on financial markets wise, as well as how's this impacting mortgage rates. And then as well, just weekly marketing to agents as well, where I'll take an article, repurpose it into a newsletter, and tie a video to it and how I relate to that news article and how it can relate to their business. And over the last several years, we've been hosting events pretty regularly for agents, whether it's via Zoom or in person, networking, headshots, as well as client, I don't like to call it, but client appreciation events where we have events. We're having an upcoming Pi Day giveaway for clients and partners in a few weeks that we're marketing right now.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So let's talk about the events because I know that's something that you shared with me that, I mean, I was impressed by what you've been able to put together and the success of those. Just for context, if you could share just an example of an event that you've hosted or, sort of what your point of view is on that.
Yeah, it started a couple of years ago where we did a food drive where we talked to local grocery store. They supplied the brown paper bags, and I joined up with a couple of realtors and just created a flyer stapled to the brown bag, dropped it off at people's house, similar like the Boy Scouts did, and did a food drive that way for 2 different subdivisions in our city, and had a really good response, really good donations, and it just felt really good to donate back to our community. So then we kept doing various events. Again, this year's the Pi Day where we're donating the same food pantry and getting some other sponsors to help offset some of the costs of the food for like pies that we're giving away, as well as refreshments at the event. But then we also have done, in August, we did one regarding National Ice Cream Day. Okay. And we did a school supply drive. We had sponsors that donated school supplies as well as the individuals that attended, and we were able to give back like 20 backpacks and like several boxes of supplies and donate to our local middle school. And afterwards, a couple weeks later, they sent me a thank you card appreciating all that we donated.
Yeah. Well, don't you just love that about the mortgage business, that you can be in a job that has nothing to do with what you're doing, but you can give back to your community in a way that is fulfilling, unites people, and really just allows for a multiplication factor of kind of good in the world. So I love that you're doing that. When you're trying to organize something like that, like how do you mobilize a movement like that? Are you I'll just stop there. Like how are you getting organized to implement something like that?
Yeah, I always feel I could do better on the implementing and organization just because it's a three-headed monster. But we've been tackling a few different ways. Reaching out, hand-to-hand combat, having conversations with our clients and texting them to engage and see when they have a few minutes to talk. Because I think, honestly, the best way to get people to come to events is having that conversation with them. We can lead via email, which we do with BombBomb, and have a registration link. We have a Google Sheet tied into that. And we started a campaign by RSVP, a quick video explaining the time, date, location. The second one we just done the other day was the charity of choice. So we announced who the charity was. Next week, we'll probably do more of a tour of the venue and then also highlight the sponsors as we lead up to our event on November 24th. So it's a plethora of different things, but I think ultimately the best way to engage with, whether it's our clients or partners, to get to an event is having that conversation, but maybe that pretext to get them on the phone to know when they're available. Because unfortunately, when we reach out to people these days, it's very hard to get them on the phone on that first call. So it's almost, you got to get that pretexting out there to see when they have time.
I like the pretext idea. So, but what you're doing, maybe not intentionally here, but is creating a reason to call, right? So that it's not just a, hey, I'm calling to check in or want to follow up with you, see how you're doing. I mean, those calls, they might, for some, they might make them feel nice and seen and loved and what have you. But for others, like, we're busy people. Like, what do you got for me here, Tom?
Right.
I love that you're creating this opportunity to reach out and have that conversation and get another touch.
Yeah, we usually on Wednesdays we'll do that anniversary or follow-up calls our clients for post-closing 7 days, 30, 3 months, 6 months, yearly. But this gives you a different reason, right? Item of value showing that your appreciation towards them. So it's a nice warm call because they're not expecting that call or that invitation. So I agree with that. And the goal is to try to have 3 of these events, one in summertime around that ice cream social time frame, one February or March, and then November for right around the holidays.
Yeah. So with the ice cream social, are you just like scooping it out and doing that, or do you bring in like a local ice cream shop to do that, or how do you execute that?
Yeah, for this year is the first year doing the ice cream social, so I ended up buying a variety of different ice cream sandwich bars, and you name it. It had some Yeti coolers to keep everything cold, and I still have some. So everybody's, when they come over for the parties, I'm like, if you're nice, you get ice cream sandwich afterwards. But yeah, that's what we did, and we had like coloring pictures and all that, and we had some giveaways. So so next year, if we do it, we're going to probably expand and look to bring in somebody like an ice cream truck.
Yeah, I love that, man. And I just, in my mind, I'm just seeing a community coming together, people having a good time, sharing about their families, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, that's what it's really all about. When you're helping people get into homes, and home means family,
Mm-hmm.
and events and doing all. And so I love that you're building these events sort of around that feeling.
Yeah, and you just want to love on the people that love you, right? The ones
Yeah.
that appreciate you and your biggest cheerleaders. You want to appreciate them so they keep you top of mind and they become your raving fans and want to talk about you to anybody and everybody.
Yeah, that's so important, man. So 24 years serving your community, helping people into homes. I'm sure there've got to be a few borrowers or a few stories that just like pulled on your heartstrings that you still remember. Is there a story that stands out to you that you can share with us?
Well, one recently, it's 2 older gals. They're sisters, and they're in their 80s, so it was a little challenging technology wise. Had to have a few younger people get involved to help me tech wise to get them across the finish line. But they're first time homeowners, 2 sisters, FHA loan. Took them over a month after the loan was under contract to get all their documents. We were able to close it successfully, and they're happy as a lark. So that's one that comes to mind, just knowing that it doesn't matter what age you are, you can become a first time home buyer. There's no discrimination at owning a home at any age. And then we've had a few other, recent first-time home buyers too, where they struggled with other lenders where they just weren't getting the help or getting the approval that they needed. Fortunately, quite a few of our partners over the last year have been reaching out to us, hey, Tom, so-and-so is not getting the approval price point that they need and want to get into a property that fits their needs. So we've been very successful lately getting that price pushed up to get them into that property.
So I got to go back to the two sisters here because that's amazing. So how did they find you? Is this just and how did they arrive at we're going to buy a house after 80 years of not owning a home?
Yeah, what a realtor partner of mine referred them over. Yeah, it's just the fact is I think they just were sick of renting, which to me at 80, I would probably rather rent. And they just decided, you know what, we want to own their home. They were really, pardon my French, hell-bent on buying a home, that it didn't matter. They were going to figure out a way to do it. Even give me a copy of their lottery ticket that they won $500 on by accident. But yeah, they were going to do whatever it took to buy a property.
That's amazing, man. And what a great story for anybody who's listening and going, maybe I don't know if owning a home is for me. I mean, you find the right professional, there's a good chance they can find find a way, right? And so I think it's so important about what a loan officer does and being clued in on what's possible for somebody and with the guidelines and the products that are available. I mean, was there a special product that had to be used for that situation, or was it just FHA and you were able to get them in?
Yeah, just FHA.
Okay.
But over this last year, we've been very strategic on how we've been helping clients where, within the guidelines with Freddie and Fannie for conventional loans, where we'll use the income strategically. If we don't need to use certain income, we won't, to get them into like the home possible or the other programs where we can get that reduced interest rate, and some of the grant programs that are being phased out, where we've given away a lot of $1,250 and $2,500 grants this year by just strategically using the income. Where I had one client, for example, this last year, they made probably over 200. However, I could boil down where I only needed to use 60 based upon their base income, so I didn't use bonus and commission. So I was able to get them a quarter point better in rate and a $1,200 grant, by doing a 30-minute course. So, I mean, I look at it as our job is to be a strategist and to be very strategic on how we look at stuff, and not be the cookie cutter. Okay, you want this? Okay, here it is. Let's peel the layer of the onion off and figure out the best strategy for you to get you in that property at the most efficient product or program.
Yeah, man, that's the value of a local professional, right? Somebody that is in your market, that knows what's available. It's not automated, push button, get mortgage sort of thing. I'm working with a local pro that knows the right solutions and can be a strategist, like you put it. So why do
No
you
McDonald's,
love
no
this
McDonald's
job?
here, just smash burgers.
What's that?
Customized. No McDonald's, just specialty smash burgers here.
Yes, I love that. Well, what is it you love about what you do? Like, why do you still do this? Because I know it's a stressful job. It's not for everybody. Like, what is it you love about this?
Yeah, this job, no matter how long you've been in the career, it definitely has its peaks and valleys, and it can mess with your mindset on a daily basis as well. But I think it's just more of every day is different and interesting. There's no cookie cutter day. Every day is a new day, new challenge, new opportunity. And I think the opportunity of helping clients achieve a dream that everybody dreams of is homeownership, and creating that wealth through there, but also just helping them create those opportunities to put them in a leverage, for success. And homeownership in your house is the most heavily weighted asset you're going to have. So how cool is it to be part of that journey to put them into that product in that asset class?
Yeah. So, what does home ownership mean to you?
I believe it gives people safety, security, just a place where they know they can call home and just kick up their feet and play their music whenever they want, whatever they want, paint their walls any color, and just be able to be very prideful of the ownership of a house and the joys that come along with it.
Yeah. So, what's next for you, Tom? I mean, you've been successful in this business. Things have grown to where you are today. When you think about the next 3, 5, 10 years, even, what are some of the things that you're focused on to stay ahead of trends, or to just, stay relevant and continue growing down the line?
Yeah, the last couple of years have been more and more into giving back to our community, such as our clients, but also our local community. So our goal, I would say, to definitely expand upon that and grow our events so we can give back each and every year more and more to our community, but also create those connections that the clients want to come and hang out with us. So for example, instead of maybe having 50 people at our pie event this year, hit 100 next year, and then maybe 200 to 300, and keep multiplying it just so we can keep giving back to our community. Because the more people that come, the more opportunity we have to serve them, but also serve our community by the donations that they give. So I think it's just more giving back. I think giver's gain mentality. The more we can give, eventually that comes around to us if we do it for the right reasons and the right purpose.
Yeah, I'm envisioning a realtor pie eating contest, apple and blueberry just covering their face.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to amp that up for next year. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, man, you gotta get the competitive spirit in there. We're talking about salespeople here.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And then the thing is, too, we've been doing monthly Zoom webinars for agents, and then usually about a quarterly meet and greet with agents where we have a networking event for them. And we bring a photographer to do headshots or lifestyle shots and have a few other sponsors for that. So we're to continue that and grow that as well because we have a photographer that really loves doing that. So maybe at that point we'll have to do like a apple dunk contest or a pie eating contest at that.
Yeah. So do you find it difficult to get different agents together from different, brokerages across town or whatever? Or is that community more collaborative than, say, the loan officer community? Because I feel like there's a divide there in their mentality.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I feel that they are very collaborative in that regards. They're not territorial. They'll come out and hang out at the events, and we do get pretty good attendance at our last one that we had at a new construction, the network and new construction. I think we had 35 people show up, so that was a pretty good turnout. And usually in our webinars, we get 10 to or 15, 20, somewhere in that range. So we do get good turnout, and I think they like it because it gives them reason to be able to network with their fellow agents that they don't get to see or talk to on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Well, I just think there's so much wisdom in being like the host. Gary Vaynerchuk has said before, and it always stuck with me, that the most popular kids in high school were the ones that threw all the parties. And so, you want to be popular, throw all the parties.
Right.
And
Yeah.
people will want to hang out with you.
Yeah. Eventually, if you love on enough, they're gonna start kicking business your way, and that's our goal. Is just to add as much value, constantly sending out different emails too. Like if I find like a PDF of something that'll add value to their business, I'll either email it to them, send it via text, or send it via Facebook Messenger. So I subscribe to a lot of different agent related items and just keep pulling those in, either creating a newsletter from that or having PDFs and just send out to agent, hey, here's some 30 different email templates for November, or it was October actually, but just different things like that. Or here's some ways to tweak your Instagram bio. Just anything I can add value, because the more you can drip and love on them, the more they're gonna want to reciprocate.
Yeah, that's so smart, man. Like, just keep giving back, and that it is a long game play, but when people see that you're consistent, that it comes from the right place, and that you're not asking for anything in return, they are attracted to that. And I think it's great what you're doing. So to wrap up, I mean, is there anything that you would like to share with the audience today, that just advice or anything that you would say, hey, this is something we haven't been able to talk about yet?
Yeah, I dove into like more of the marketing part to clients and agents in the last 2 to 3 years. Was following Kai McBride for a little bit, and that was one thing. We were doing like an 8-week course, a couple of different sessions, and that's how I learned how to do Eventbrite and then Zoom webinars and all that. So I think start small. If you're not doing a newsletter to your clients about maybe the financial markets, start doing that, and then start rolling out and either adding your agents to that, and or creating a separate newsletter for them. I do it every Tuesday morning, an item of value. I just try to find an article, repurpose it, with the help of ChatGPT on creating newsletter format, and just adding something that can either be lead generation or maybe making their job easier or more efficient, or just anything that we can add value. Because I think the more we can drip on them and add value to them, like you said, the more they're gonna love that and reciprocate at some point. It's a long game, but now a lot of agents look at me as a marketer in all my marketing ideas and reach out to me for different ideas and opportunities. So I think if you're not doing a newsletter for your clients and agents, start doing that. And then eventually maybe you start doing webinars for agents. But I think start small and get something and be consistent with it. I don't try to do too much, because if we try to do too much, we just won't do it consistently.
That's smart, man. And, when you become that distributor of education, you start to build trust, it raises the bar for everyone else in the market too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tom keeps sending me all this. Why don't you do that? Right. And it just continues to elevate you in their eyes as somebody who's being different.
Yeah. Yeah, and with the marketing part, I'll cross market to clients or partners, whether it's BombBomb or calls or texts or Eventbrite, I'll send out it, or even Facebook invite, create a Facebook event as well. So I try to do a multi-pronged approach, because everybody, like they say, if you post on the social media, you only hit so many. If you send somebody an email, it might get caught up in their junk mail. So the more we can put in different spots, the more opportunity we're going to at least touch them at least once for each event. And one other quick hit too would be, if you're not doing it, just start saying happy birthday, everybody that's your Facebook friend. And I do a happy birthday Facebook video. I'll use the Ray-Ban effect and just say happy birthday to them and have a great day and hope all is well. And you'd be surprised at how many people appreciate that and expect it after you're doing it for a year or two, where like, Tom, you're the only one doing it, or I was looking forward to the video today or something. So you just never know when that person might even need that too. So
from my own personal experience, so I'll just share a quick anecdote to that, because I love the idea. I have never been on Facebook until like this year or last year. So I just had my first Facebook birthday. Okay. And I'll tell you, I kind of hated it, because it was like a ton of generic messages just flowing through all day. But if I had gotten a Ray-Ban video of somebody, like, that would definitely stand out. It would be different.
mm-hmm.
And so I think I commend you on just taking that putting in that little bit of extra effort to not just click send on the generic, already written for you happy birthday message and picking one of the three, but then to just go, I'll make a video. It's an important day for that person. I want to make them feel special. And it works, man. So
yeah. 5 minutes, you're done. And if you really want to take a little extra time and stalk them on Facebook before you send them a Facebook DM, you're more than welcome to. But even just doing the quick happy birthday, that takes 10 seconds, they're going to appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Tom, thanks for joining the Lowdown today. I really appreciate everything you shared. Best of luck to you in your future. And again, just thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Connor. Thanks for the opportunity.